All right, I think we're live. Push one in the chat if you can hear me. All right, got a confirmation. Thank you for the confirmation. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 793, Black Politics. Please hit the like button as you come in, share the video if possible, and hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust. If you want to join the panel, there'll be a link in the chat. Make sure you update your Zoom client before joining. There is a new Zoom update out. And give a shout out to the people who first showed up. Ayo, Peace, Conservative. I would love for you to come up here. Shonda H., good evening to you. As always, hope you're well. Let me grab the docket. Actually, you can grab the link. We can get started. All right, man. So what we're going to watch tonight is a master's class at dismantling so-called Black male conservatives. This isn't aimed at actual conservatives or traditional conservatives, or what we call trad-cons. This is aimed at Manosphere conservatives. And the reason for this is because I was on Art Newstall's panel last week, and you had certain individuals who, wanted to make claims of things that the vice president was doing that really wasn't being done. They couldn't really prove it. When you asked for the sources, they couldn't really provide an actual source. I go to the White House's website. I get the facts from the White House. They they reject the White House facts and then introduce their own alternative facts, and then the conversation goes sideways. This is typical of Black male conservatives. Okay. And it's important to understand this because there's a lot of, talk about coming together and, rebuilding the Black community and rebuilding Black America and all this other stuff. But then when you really get down to brass tacks, a lot of these guys are not really about that life. And so what I want to do is actually break down this video and just go over this video real quick, break it down. Anybody comes up, want to challenge it, feel free to come up here. You're welcome. You're all welcome. And then what we're going to do is we'll peel out of here, man, if nobody comes up. But I definitely want to go over it, at least the first 10 to 15 minutes of it, because it's actually a master's class in how you dismantle Black conservatives. Okay. So let me fire this up. Share my screen. Push one in the chat if you can see my screen. All right, let's go. Thank you for the confirmation.
We're talking about the shooting that took place in Allen, Texas, that left 7 people dead, 8 people wounded. This is what I had to say.
After a mass shooting like this, lawmakers in the state where it happened would take stock and work on policy changes, to the secretary's point, to prevent it from happening again. But that's not what happens in Texas.
No.
What do we do here? How do we break this cycle? I mean, it's not like every 2 weeks, my friend. It's like every other day we're having these stories now about mass shootings.
The only way to change any of this is to completely wipe out the Republican Party. Somebody has to say it. Greg Abbott, the governor, is sick and demented. He has literally done nothing. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, the leadership, Republican leadership in the state, they literally have done nothing. They have ignored the Uvalde parents. I was at the Texas Capitol a few months ago where they were rallying there. They are not going to do anything. But here's also what has to happen. People of conscience are going to have to stop sitting at home and saying, oh, we want something done. In the last election, 75% of all Texans under the age of 30 did not vote. And so the only way to change this is to move these people out of office. There is no other way. And so, yes, we've seen what they've done when it comes to voter suppression. They want to remove voting locations from college campuses. But the way to counter this, you have to take these people out of office and put in people who are going to pass the laws. That is the only way, because it is clear they are not going to change the laws because they are so in love with guns and so in love with the Second Amendment crowd, they do not care to see bodies piled up on the sidewalk. All right, folks. So the folks at Project 21, group of minority conservatives, they were a little upset, y'all. They were caught in their feelings. And so Craig DeLuz, this is what he writes. The problem is not guns. It's the zero bail, sanctuary city, and defund the police liberal policies that have progressively made our streets less and less safe. As social justice warriors like Roland Martin continue to advocate for criminals of color, they ignore the fact that overwhelmingly their victims also happen to be people of color. He clearly cares more about violent criminals than he does their victims. Has he been drug tested? Because the segment we were discussing the shooting in Allen, Texas. I don't recall one time where I was advocating for the shooter. A white Hispanic who also is a white supremacist neo-Nazi. Let's read the next one. Melanie Collette, she goes, Roland Martin's incendiary comments are add fuel to an already divisive rift between the left and the right. The left is quick to call out its version of hateful rhetoric when a pundit on the right dares to disagree with progressive viewpoints. Meanwhile, media outlets like MSNBC overlook potentially violent language coming from liberal pundits like Roland Martin, proving just how intolerant the party of tolerance can often be. Really? That's interesting. Melanie, where are your statements against some of the most ridiculous stuff we've heard on Fox News? Oh, you haven't done any of those because you're trying to get booked on Fox News. All right, here's David Lowery, Jr. He goes, after decades of leftist leadership, black communities continue to suffer from uncontrolled crime and economic woes while progressives clamor for more devastation to black communities coming through unfettered abortion. Instead of calling for violence in their mission to destroy conservative thought, Roland Martin and his ilk should be looking for ways to improve the quality of life in black and brown communities. Martin is an embarrassment and nothing more than a puppet for the left. So David Lowery Jr. joins me right now from Chicago. David, question for you. Discussion I had on MSNBC on Sunday, was the topic abortion?
The topic was
yes or no?
The topic was about mass shootings.
No. The topic was a specific mass shooting in Allen, Texas.
Roland, we both from Chicago.
No, actually, I'm not from Chicago. I'm from Houston. No, hold up. Let me help you. David, hold on. David, hold on. David, I'll let you talk. David, hold on. David, it's a fact. David, hold on a second. I'm not from Chicago. I am born and raised in Houston, Texas. I lived in Chicago for 6 years. Exactly. Now you can continue.
Okay, so you and I know that the real problem here with the shooting, it is not the guns. It's the people that get the guns that cause these crimes.
How did you get them?
You know, it's the left. It's the left that bring these guns in the community. Let me just, these guns get into the community, whether it's left or right.
How did the shooter, hold up, the discussion was regarding Allen, Texas. Here's the first question. Have you ever been to Allen, Texas?
No, I have never been to Allen, Texas.
I have. I've been to that. No, 1 second. Hold up. No, I know, David. I'm going to let you talk, but I got to establish a foundation of things first.
Okay.
One. Hold up, David, 1 second. I'm going to let you talk. Have you been to Allen, Texas, yes or no?
I said no.
Okay. I've been to Allen, Texas. I've actually been to that particular mall. Do you know what the racial makeup of Allen, Texas is?
Roland, that doesn't matter.
No, David, I'm asking a question. Do you know, yes or no?
You don't want to get to the point.
David, I'm getting to the point. I'm asking you a specific question because the discussion on MSNBC was about the shooting in Allen, Texas. David, do you know the racial makeup of Allen, Texas?
I told you I haven't been there.
The makeup, no. You don't have to be there to know the racial makeup. Allen, Texas is 61.5% white. 2, we now know that the shooter, the actual shooter, was a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi. How was he a leftist or a liberal?
Let me say this, Roland. First of all, the problem that we have in here is that the American people really do not understand the difference between these two, the conservatives and the liberals.
David, I asked you a specific question regarding the shooter. David, can you answer about the shooter?
I'm going to answer the question about the shooter, but let me lay the foundation. Just like you did. This whole thing is about the Second Amendment. The left always want to try to control everybody in this.
David, can you answer the question about the shooter?
Let me.
No. You're now trying to go somewhere else. David, was the shooter a Latino male who also was a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi? Yes or no?
Let me finish. I'm laying the foundation.
David, it's either yes or no. It's not laying a foundation. Either he was or he wasn't.
Listen. So anytime a shooting like this come up, and you want to say, well, there was a shooting with a transgender.
No, David. I'm specifically talking about a shooting in Allen, Texas. Can you answer my question? You want to go? You want to go somewhere else?
I think this is an excellent time to stop, because what's happening here is David, just like David in the chat room, always filibusters, never on topic, never sticking to the topic, the subject at hand, always filibustering, always introducing different ideas into the conversation that have absolutely nothing to do with it. Okay. This guy you see on screen right here is from Project 21. Another one of these Project 21 schmucks were on Bernard Riley's panel about a few weeks ago. Okay. Another one of those guys. All of these sort of talking points are circular in the manosphere right now. And so what's happening here is a lot of these Black men are in this space are gravitating toward those other guys in Project 21 and then coming back in here to use the same talking points because it sounds good to them, but they think they can run it on us. Okay. Roland is breaking this guy down completely to a fraction. Okay. Let me finish playing this.
Can you answer my question about the shooting in Allen, Texas?
But I'm trying to get the American people to see this. The politicians, the left and the right is one bird. And they all is one bird, the left wing and the right wing. So it doesn't matter.
David, are you going to answer the question? Was the shooter in Allen, Texas, was he a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi, a Latino? Yes or no?
There's nothing proven.
Answer the question, David. Yes or no?
We don't know.
Yes, we do know. I'm sorry.
Did he say
David, they literally have uncovered Evidence. This man has tattoos on his body. White supremacist, neo-Nazi tattoos. You haven't seen that?
Just because he was a white supremacist, he still was a shooter, just like all the other shooters who used a weapon, who now the left is trying to shut down the Second Amendment.
Let me ask you a question, David. After Uvalde in Texas, David, I'm gonna ask you a question, David. After the shooting of David, there was a shooting in Uvalde, Texas. The shooting in Uvalde, Texas. The parents, David, here's the deal. You can sit here and run off and do everything else. I am asking extremely specific questions. What I would like is an answer to the question, not you trying to filibuster something else. That was a shoot. David, I'm asking a question. David, that was a shooting in Uvalde, Texas. After the shooting in Uvalde, Texas, the parents in Uvalde demanded Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick to do something about gun control. Greg Abbott then said the problem isn't the guns, the problem is mental illness. David, hold up. David, fact, yes or no? Did Texas Governor Greg Abbott cut $211 million out of the mental health budget in Texas? Yes or no?
No, I don't know if he did or not. Did he?
He did. So you just agreed, David. You just agreed, David. I'm gonna let you talk. You just agreed with Greg Abbott that mental illness is the problem. Yeah. So if mental illness is the problem, why did the Republican governor cut the funding, and did you criticize his cutting of the funding? Now you can talk.
Okay. This thing in Texas and Greg Abbott cutting the funding for the mental illness, it's definitely a mental illness because these guns are not killing. It's the people that get the guns.
Greg, so David, do you disagree with Republican Greg Abbott cutting the funding?
I disagree with the fact that you're not allowing me to explain myself. That's what I disagree
David,
with.
You just said cutting the funding of mental illness is a problem. Do you disagree with Republican Greg Abbott cutting the funding?
This is what I disagree with. If he cut that funding is needed to help the mental aspects of people that are purchasing the weapons.
So if you believe it's needed, where is your statement? Hold up. Where's your statement criticizing Greg Abbott for cutting the funding? Where is it?
I'm criticizing you because you're a race beta who always continue.
Oh, so you're not criticizing the person who cut the funding. You're just criticizing the concept of cutting the funding.
I'm criticizing you right now, brother.
David, I'm going to ask you again. David, why won't you criticize the Republican governor who cut $211 million for mental illness?
Opposed of us looking for issues to help the black community, all you do is get on this show.
You're a liar.
That the left.
You're a liar. Again, here's what I don't understand. See, if you say they fly, David, if you say they fly from the same bird, you would have the guts, you would have the courage, you would be a black man with conviction and say, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is wrong for blaming mental illness and then turning around and cutting the money. But you won't do that because that's going to cut your Republican money.
Let me say this. If he cut the money because...
Not if, he did.
Wait a minute, just like the liberals do. They say one thing and do something else. This bird has two wings, the left and the right.
David,
And governor is this.
David, why won't you criticize the Republican governor for cutting the money?
Criticize him. I called to talk about you.
No. See, David, here's the deal. David. See, you thought I was going to go by your agenda. This is my show, player. And we're discussing the shooting in Texas. See, you wanted to bring us some other stuff. Let me go back to it, David. Do you believe it was wrong? David, for Texas and other states to pass laws allowing for concealed handguns and people don't have to get a permit?
I don't believe in that because I got a permit here in Illinois.
You don't believe in what?
So if you're going to get a gun, you need to go through the proper process.
So that means that you believe it. So you, David of Project 21, you believe that Alabama Governor Kay Ivey, you believe that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and you believe that Texas Governor Greg Abbott, all Republicans, were wrong for supporting bills allowing people to carry concealed weapons without having to get a permit, correct?
What I believe is this. I believe that those governors are doing what the best they can.
No, David. You just said, wait a minute, David. You just said, wait a minute. I have a concealed permit in Illinois. I believe you must go through a process. So when I then turn around and tell you that Republican governors have supported bills allowing concealed handguns without a permit, now they doing the best thing they could. David, is it the best thing? David, is it the David is real simple. Is it the best thing for people to carry concealed handguns without a permit? Yes or no?
That was required for me, okay? That's what I'm saying. So whatever these states do for their states, that's what they do. But the real
David, are you aware that homicides in Texas are up 90% since they... Are you aware, David? We're discussing Texas. Are you aware that homicides in Texas are up 90% since they changed the gun laws?
The statement that you made was racist.
David, David, you're not answering my question, David. David, you're not answering my question. You are aware, David, that Texas has had more mass shootings in the last few years than any other state. Are you aware of that?
I am aware of that.
Are you aware of the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, in El Paso, Texas, in Santa Fe? And after every one of those shootings, they did nothing.
You want to sit here and you want to, as a leftist. You
no, David, I am a registered voter in Texas. Are you?
No,
David, are you a registered voter in Texas?
The real question.
Are you a registered voter in Texas? Yes or no? David, are you a registered voter in Texas? Yes or no?
About the black community.
David, are you a registered voter in Texas? Yes or no?
Are you talking to David Monroe?
Are you a registered voter in Illinois?
David, no, I'm not. Guess what? And guess what, David? Guess what? I am a registered voter in Texas, Dallas County. Hold up, David, which means that I, as a native Texan and a registered voter and a homeowner, have the absolute right to call out Texas Republicans who have done nothing to keep Texans safe.
To destroy this country, the left has implemented things and laws that we're seeing now.
Really?
Black people are not prospering.
David, we're discussing the mass shooting in Texas, and now you want to go on this tangent. And David, here's what I don't understand, David. Why is it? David, why are you so scared? David, why are you so impotent? Why are you so frail to criticize Republicans for passing gun laws and making it easier for people to get guns?
The real deal is this. The left has already...
You still not answer the question, David. David.
Either we're going to
discuss mass shootings in Texas, or David, we're not having a conversation about economics in black communities.
Mental issues, and it is not the guns that are killing, it's the sad people that get the guns that do the killing.
Ah, I'm glad you said that. So since it's the sad people who get the guns and the Republican governor is cutting the mental health funding, David, this is real simple, David. This is real simple. David, you can sit there, David, are you going to stay on the topic, or are you going to try to come up with some other stuff?
But you laid a foundation.
David, you're not on the topic, David.
So the thing of it is this. As long as the American people do not come up with a system to weed out those that have mental issues.
Wait a minute, David, you can't weed it out if you cut the money.
To weed out those who have mental issues, it is not the guns. The Second Amendment should not be infringed upon, and the American people and patriots across this country need to stand strong together, because people like Roland Martin are divisive.
Here's what I find to be funny. Divisive is when you're so weak that you're unwilling. When you're so weak, you're unwilling to criticize a Republican who doing what's wrong. David,
You know,
David, admit it. You're impotent.
I am the biggest critic.
All of the money that you get from Project 21 comes from the right. David, you won't even answer the question.
And the thing of it is this, right?
David, let me ask you a question. David, after black people were killed, see, since you, okay, how about this, David? Since you want to talk about black people, okay? No. Since you want to talk about black people, let's go ahead and talk about black people, okay?
Yep.
We about to roll up on the first anniversary of 10 black folks killed. Now, hold up, David. We gonna discuss black people right now. Hold up, David. David, you just bumping your gums. We gonna discuss black people right now.
Black people continue.
No, here's what we gonna do. I'm gonna go to a break. And I'm gonna come back in 2 minutes.
This is what you see in the Manosphere. Okay,
Yeah.
he is typical of the Manosphere.
Trying to filibuster his way through a whole conversation, can't stay on topic, didn't read anything about the topic. Everything is, oh, you're a leftist and boilerplate issues. Like, this is a grown-up human being who works for an organization. And when he came there, like, it's not like the subject is secret. He knew what he was coming to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to a break and he came back and he still wasn't on topic. And it's like, that's a lot of deliberate political illiteracy, man. Like, they just want to come in and kind of throw this Hail Mary pass and just call people leftists and liberals because they can't argue the point.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He is typical of what you see in what we consider to be a black manosphere today. 2.0. Okay. All these people want to hang on the hat of 2.0 and how great it is. This is what comes out of 2.0. Okay. There's not a guy in this place who claims to be conservative that doesn't sound like this guy right here, man. They all sound alike. And they look alike too. Look alike. like credentialed people. Let me finish playing the rest of this.
We gonna come back and we gonna discuss black people being shot. And I'm gonna walk through something and I can't wait to get your response to it. Hey y'all, you watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. People who were gunned down at a supermarket in Buffalo. And so we are having, well, I won't call it a conversation because David Lowry refuses to answer any questions. He's with Project 21. So David, let me ask you this question. Since you want to talk about black people, 10 black people were gunned down at a supermarket in Buffalo by a white supremacist. Shortly after that happened, the House passed a bill to fight domestic terrorism, and it was laid out. The vote was 222 to 203. Go to my iPad, Henry. 222 to 203. The only Republican who voted for the bill was a guy from your state, former Congressman Adam Kinzinger. All other Republicans voted against this bill. David, I'm curious. Can you show me where you criticized and condemned Republicans for voting against a bill to fight white domestic terrorism after 10 black people were killed by a white supremacist in a Buffalo supermarket?
Well, Roland, it's kind of like the same situation.
Can you answer the question? Did you criticize the Republicans for voting against it? It's a yes or no, David.
Yes, listen,
What?
let me say this. It's kind of like the
Come
same
on, man.
way
Like, did you
that
order the
all
code red?
left-
Did you condemn Republicans for not standing up for black people? Yes or no?
One Democrat had voted. to
Okay,
stop-
let me do this here. Henry, go to my iPad. David Lowry and, let me just do this here. David Lowry and Buffalo shooting. So let's see. Let's see exactly what David Lowry had to say about the shooting in Buffalo. I'm looking.
I didn't say nothing about the shooting in Buffalo.
So hold up. 10 black people are gunned down by white supremacists And you said nothing?
I wasn't asked to.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. You have to be. Wait a minute,
You have to be asked.
You have to be asked by white people to comment
It's
on the
unbelievable.
death of black people. So wait a minute. When all Republicans except one voted against a bill against white domestic terrorism, you said nothing. What kind of black man are you that says nothing when your party votes against the killing of black people?
Now, let me say this.
No. Did you say anything when your party would not vote for black people?
Let me say this. At the time this shooting occurred,
A year ago.
I wasn't even with Project 21.
It don't matter. Hold up. Who were you with? Who were you with?
Let me finish. Let me finish. I'm with my own foundation.
Okay, so you couldn't say anything about it?
Let me say, I didn't get the media attention to say what I needed to say.
Oh my God. Oh, hold up. There's a thing called Twitter. There's a thing called Instagram. There's a thing called Facebook. There's a thing called fan base and Tumblr and TikTok and YouTube and Snapchat. Oh, I'm not getting the media attention.
Let me finish. I posted what I posted on Facebook with my show, Let the Truth Be Told on TZN.
About what?
About the shooting. The shooting was wrong. Any shooting is wrong.
David, I asked you a question. 203 Republicans voted against the bill. No, David. Since you're in the show, David, on your show, did you ever blast Republicans for voting against this bill?
Yes, I blast Republicans. I blast.
No. On this bill.
Either side.
On this bill, David.
We're rolling.
David, answer my question, David. On this bill, did you criticize Republicans on this bill?
I criticized.
Huh?
I criticized that bill.
Where is it? Hold on. Where's the proof?
Blacks are being killed in Chicago.
Stop. Where's the proof? No. Where's the proof?
Chicago, man.
David, where did you criticize them?
Nobody gets the
David,
bill.
where did you criticize them, David?
I criticize anybody.
David, where did you criticize the Republicans who voted days after the Buffalo shooting? Where? Hey, hold up. Y'all do me a favor. Go to control room. Now, David, hold on. Control room. Go to David's Facebook page. And I want y'all to go back. I want y'all to go back to May 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th, and I want y'all to find me the video where David condemned Republicans. Hold up, David. Hey, David. David. 10 black folks are gunned down, and they vote against it.
I criticize you. I criticize.
Hey, David. I supported the bill. Did you? Hey, David. Did you support this bill?
This thing.
David, did you support this bill?
Let me tell you.
David, did you support this bill, yes or no?
That's the bill I support.
Which one?
This is the thing, Roland.
David, did you support this bill?
We got to talk about you being a race baiter.
See, here's the deal, David. See,
That dude gotta get these talking points off, man.
You are absolutely one of those. I wasn't with Project 21 last year, so I really couldn't say nothing. Bro, you weak. You're weak.
This is the thing. The only
You're
thing
a weak black man. You will not condemn the Republican Party. David, hey, David, let me tell you, brother. David, I can't give you a spine.
They created welfare.
Hey, David, I can't give you a spine. I can't give you any of that. So here's the whole deal, David. I'm gonna ask you one more time, David.
Chicago,
I'm gonna ask you one more time, David.
What about Chicago? What about Chicago?
Do not wake up to understand.
This is really a waste of my time because you can't even answer the question. So, David Lowry, I appreciate you coming on from Chicago. I appreciate you, but I still want to know, please, by all means, send my producer the proof of you condemning Republicans in Buffalo. You have a great day, and I hope you keep talking to yourself. All right, y'all, I'm going to go to a break. We're going to come back, talk to my panel.
And there you have it, man.
There it is, man. There it is. There it is.
There you have it. Just like a man
roll out of bed, with a 3x5 card and just read all the nonsense off of it. Ask specific and direct questions, couldn't answer it. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, had no intention on answering it. Just like these guys get out here and start filibustering and running around, talking around stuff, bringing up dumb crap, means nothing. All right, means nothing. Repeat again, means nothing. Yet they're running around trying to filibuster to bring up useless, vapid, shine bone points where these guys here they are going against bills that are going directly against you, and these guys are not supporting it. Not supporting it. That's what you're looking at, man. I mean, these dudes are vile, bro.
Now, I was on Art Newstall's panel 6 months ago. This is during the midterms, okay? And you had a certain panelist on there when I brought up this point about Buffalo, the Buffalo shooting. The pushback was, so what? Okay? This is how wedded these guys in the Manosphere are to the fascist party, which is the Republican Party at this point. They're not really a political party. They're more of a fascist movement. They don't really have a political grounding. And so in the Manosphere, I posit a guess that the reason why so many Black men in this space gravitate towards these sort of talking points in the white nationalism is because that's really who they see themselves as. They idolize these things because they don't get that within the Black community. They can't just jump on the panel and, like a Black Brain Trust or a Man of Tomorrow and just gish gallop their way through things. They don't get the chance to do that. And so they respond in a very hostile way. Like this cat was doing to Roland Martin, trying to get his talking points off that didn't really add any value to the discussion at all. And in fact, he was so, it wasn't even on topic at all. Didn't even make any sense. Didn't even care about Black people being killed in Buffalo, but wanted to talk about race baiting and stuff like that. Didn't make any fucking sense at all. Even though the very
bizarre
Republican, the very Republican in his own state of Illinois was the only one that voted for the bill. Didn't even understand that. But couldn't even be bothered to listen to that part of that part of the discussion because they don't really care. And to be a Black male conservative, a Manosphere conservative, a Black Manosphere conservative means to gish gallop around, not really care, na poo poo. You're a lefty, and that's just the end of it. And then want to talk about, well, let's talk about fixing the Black community. What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? You have no sort of track record of writing or producing content that reflects that anyway. So why would we have that conversation? Why don't we start the conversation with white nationalists and fascists going up into these places, shooting shit up? Man, the guy who got, the guy who killed these people in Allen, Texas, was in fact a white nationalist. He was a fascist. Okay? What are we talking about here, man? This same Project 21, this Project 21 members were on Bernard Riley's only a few weeks ago. Okay, it was only last month these guys were on Bernard Riley's hee ha ha over there. But this is what you get. Go ahead, MLT.
It's just that these things are so lame and so predictable. And I don't think that's the reason why they're over there. They're over there because it's easy.
Yeah.
They're over there because you're not even required to bring any sense to the table. You're not required to talk about any type of policy. The only thing you're required to do is just troll the left. So, and actually disrupt and derail conversations with your need to be caught up on everything because you don't know a damn thing. And you're not even required over there to know a damn thing. And this is just the way that they act. They have this laissez-faire, liberal-ass attitude towards society. Somebody else is going to fix it. I don't have to know anything. Because if I know something, then my plausible deniability goes away. I protect my plausible deniability by just disagreeing with whatever I think is left. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
that's where they at, man.
Yeah, but when people want to talk about, the Manosphere is going mainstream, he's going mainstream with this? Really? Is that what you want to go mainstream with? Because he doesn't sound any different than any other guy in the Manosphere who claims to be a Black conservative. a manosphere conservative only exists within the confines of the manosphere. Once they step outside of the black manosphere, that's it, man. Head chopped off, helmet cracked, you know, all sorts of exploitation happens to them, man, right on these panels. And so they don't really survive very well. You could hear this guy getting pummeled, you know, by Roland Martin. And Roland Martin was being very generous with him. He was letting him get his shit off for what it was worth. But he had his opportunity to say what he needed to say. He didn't say anything. And so that's on him. Go ahead, Nicole.
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, these guys are not even conservative. When you really look at conservative principles, there's no way around it. And then, like I said, they're trying to push maybe some level of, I think they may say this is some kind of masculinity or whatever, but yet they don't do anything to stand up in their communities whatsoever, except sit back and support far-right racists against themselves, of whom they embrace. I mean, when you look at these guys, I keep saying in the chat room, these dudes they're kind of vile, man. They're vile. These guys they don't stand for anything. They don't stand for anything except support these guys that are out there against you. That's about it. They're not politically organized. They're not moving in an area that's really going to change anything really significant except push someone else's agenda. And I find that very, 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 very dangerous. In the larger picture, the conservatives here are these so-called fake conservatives. They're not conservatives whatsoever. But they try to call that these guys are these guys are lost. These guys they're clueless, and you can't have a conversation with them really. You just can't. But anyway,
no.
They're preservatives, man. They're not conservatives. They're preservatives.
Conservatives. That's very good. It's very good.
No, it's just that David on Roland's panel sounds no different than David on this panel right now. What's going on, conservative?
Oh yeah, what's up?
What you got
I
on
gotta
this,
tell
man?
you, I haven't heard much deep intellectual ideas coming out of you guys tonight. It's been a lot of bitterness, a lot of anger and pejoratives and whatnot. But yeah,
Bitterness?
a lot of bitterness.
We're laughing at you guys. We're laughing.
This is very bitter laughter. I never heard bitter laughter before. That's wild.
We're laughing at you. You're a joke. You're
let him finish.
That part. I got
let him
that
finish.
part.
No,
But what
go
are
go
the
ahead,
progressive ideas that are so wonderful? What are the progressive ideas? What you got? Reparations? That's your big idea?
Oh, okay. So you're trying to pull a conservative lie, so you want us to actually explain to you the policies that you don't even know that even exist? Is that what this is about?
Well, I haven't heard any ideas yet. So if you got one, I'll be your huckleberry. What's your big idea?
I mean, you do know the
don't explain it to him. Let him figure it out for himself.
No, it's like he lives in New York for a reason. Trust me.
Yeah.
You like that liberal stuff, man. Bro, you like that progressive stuff. We're not going to explain it to you, but you like it. That's why you live there. You can move up to you can move
your
up
idea
to
is more
around
jokes and insults, right? This is how deep you think. Good for you. I'm glad I called in.
All right, cool, man.
All right, let's go to Citizen Lou. What's going on, Lou? What it do?
Hey, what's going on? Salute everybody. Salute to the chat. Salute everybody. No, I was gonna jump in. What's going on? I was gonna jump in on the y'all talking about the Allen, Texas thing about like the black conservatives and all this stuff like that. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. I'm sure you guys have, but like on Twitter, right? There's like a concerted effort to like instead of it's funny, like so the guy's quote unquote Hispanic, right? And they're like they're like, oh, how is he a white supremacist and he's Hispanic? How is he a white supremacist? Like they keep doing this thing, right? So it's almost like in a roundabout way, they're acknowledging that he can't be on their side, right? You get what I'm saying? Like he can't be on the right wing side because he listens to all the same stuff they do. Tim Pool, Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson. He's on the same sites. He's watching the same content. He's saying the same things, the rhetoric and all that stuff, right? But then he's Hispanic, so how can he be a white supremacist? There's no way. So it's kind of like whenever a black conservative gets in this situation, I mean, it's just crazy to me, bro. It's like black conservatives don't really see what they're doing, or if they do, they just don't care, right? It's either they don't really understand, in my opinion, that they are. I mean, it is the party of white people, the Republican Party, the right wing fascism. They don't it's kind of mind blowing. And that video y'all just showed, that Mike dude, he couldn't show videos to Chicago while he was on that panel. He couldn't show women twerking on cars, so that's why it was ineffective. When you ask serious questions, like legit questions, they can't do anything. Like you said, what you say, just trying to jump through the panel. Oh, killing in Chicago. That's all he got. Chicago.
What does it mean to be like a right-wing person? You know, they call Larry Elder a white supremacist of color also. What does it even mean anymore?
Did I call him a white supremacist of color? I said he was on that side. I said he was.
No, I said, no, I didn't accuse you of that. I'm saying they call Larry Elder a white supremacist of color. That's literally what's come out of it. So brown people can be white supremacists. Black people can be white supremacists. What is a white supremacist at this point?
If you're black and talk about great replacement theory, you pretty much a white supremacist.
Yeah, man, you out of here. Yeah.
Oh, so the people in Chicago, those baby mamas in the Chicago meetings are white supremacists? No. So how about in Baltimore? How about in Baltimore where they complain about getting put out of their places by illegal immigrants? Are they white supremacists
What
too?
next? Philadelphia, Atlanta.
All the black cities are funny to you. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. All the black cities are a punchline on this conversation. That's cool. I'm just saying, are white people being chased out of construction work, or is that black people? Is that black people that can't get work in retail, or is that white people's thing?
So,
what is he
so
talking
let me
he has no idea.
Yeah.
He has no idea.
Yeah, sorry, you got some noise in the background. Just kind
Yeah,
of
I'm driving. Sorry.
Yeah, so for everybody else who don't really understand what conservatives is trying to say is that Anglo-Saxons, Europeans required class collaboration in order to push this agenda. Okay, it was not uncommon that they co-opted poorer Europeans, and co-opted them into this concept of white supremacy. And so in the United States today, in order for them to further sustain this agenda, they also had to collaborate with quote unquote black conservatives. And what you heard in that clip with Roland Martin was somebody who was toting the line. And what you hear from Larry Elder is another black man toting the line. Okay, he totes the line. He understands. He understands.
That's actually bullshit. Hold on. That's bullshit, because you can't say there are racial collaborators. Black people have been voting for immigration for 50, 60 years, and now a Mexican immigrant is a white nationalist, and you want to forget that y'all let this nigga in here. That wasn't conservatives. That was y'all. That was the progressive thing, is to let the people come in here.
What
more
about
brown
Buffalo?
people.
What about Buffalo?
You got a racist white guy. Great, good for you. What does that change in the reality for most black people? That Buffalo guy does not change the lives of most black people.
What about Dylan Roof?
Oh, another one. So 2 white people. The fact that you can name them is bullshit. Name all the Mexicans coming across the border right now. Name all the Mexicans in that goddamn convoy that's lined up outside of the border right now. But you can name 2 white people and you feel special. Nigga, please.
I don't feel special. I'm just explaining, because you're making it seem as if class collaboration has never happened. And what I'm explaining is historically that has always been the case. And what you see in the Manosphere is the class collaboration between black men claiming to be conservative and those who are actually conservative on that side. And to be a conservative, you can only be, one way. That's it. There is no other way.
You're calling it class collaboration when black people voted for the Mexicans that you're calling white supremacists. Who is the collaborator? You.
Who are they voting for? I'm sorry. What? Who are they voting for?
You're voting for immigration, and now the immigrants are here, and you want to call them a white supremacist. You voted for him. You're the collaborator, my nigga. You did this.
What was his ethnicity? I wasn't aware of that. What was his ethnicity?
The Hispanic white supremacist, his ethnicity, Hispanic. And immigration means what? Let more Hispanics come in, right? Isn't that what's going on?
Go ahead, Citizen Lou. I see you trying to get in.
Okay.
Oh, what happened? No, I had unmuted, but I mean, he's white, but I mean, yeah, he's Hispanic, but I mean, he's not radicalized by the people vote like Democrats. I mean, like I said, he was watching Nick Fuentes. He had his own manifesto. He had his own Manosphere type, get these women in line type of rhetoric. What he said, he said men don't deserve sex, but women don't deserve protection. Sounds kind of familiar. You know, the whole Tim Pool, he had Tim Pool on repeat. He had dude, like, okay, yeah, okay, you're saying that they voted more immigration, but immigration not just Hispanics, by the way. I mean, there's a lot of different. It's Chinese. I mean, that's kind of like
Ukrainians.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They sit in for that
black people. Chinese don't like you. Ukrainians don't like you, but you voted for them, and you giving them money. Yay, progressives.
And the funny thing about that, Lou, is that I'm glad you brought Nick Fuentes' piece, because Nick Fuentes was just on another Manosphere Man's panel who claims to be a conservative himself. See how class collaboration really is.
And Mike, you see how he was security guard, boy. Anybody had any like real shut up. You don't know how to have manners when we have like bro, that he was acting like
it's the same thing.
But my point,
it was the same bodyguard.
Yeah, you can't get any real pushback. But so Dave, you're saying that, okay, I mean, but Dave, I don't understand. Like, so you're trying to like, you're doing the same thing the right-wing social media is doing. You're like trying to distance this dude and try to put him off on somebody else. When this is your camp, this is your boy.
He might be he might be a right-wing white supremacist. That's not my argument. My argument is you let this illegal in here. Now that he's here, he become a right-wing.
He's not illegal though.
So hold on. Oh,
yeah,
so he's not illegal.
That is. No, he's he's not illegal. He's been here for like,
I got that part wrong. I got that part wrong. So
all of everything you're saying is wrong.
No, you're saying
is wrong.
This is what you get confused. No, this is what you're confused about. No, this is what you're confused about.
You wanted the brown people to be allies with black people, and as it turns out, those brown people that you thought were your allies aren't your fucking allies. And now you want to act like somebody else invited them.
Well, this is what you're confused about.
That started with the Reagan administration. That started long before that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That dude's almost 30, Dave. He's been here for a while. But here's what you're confused about.
I want to ask
Dave,
very quickly. What do you know about the Immigration Reform Act of 1986? What do you know about it?
What's the point? We shouldn't have let it happen. We should have deported them all back in 86. We should have deported them in 86. What's the fucking point?
It was the conservatives who brought him in. That's why he's asking you that.
That doesn't change my fucking answer. What's so like, dude, all right. For one, for you guys to act as if conservatives have never done anything wrong, and then you want to like bring up something that they did wrong. Yeah, conservatives get something wrong every now and then. Black people vote Democrat 90% of the time. So fuck that.
Nice
yeah, but he's in Texas. he's in Texas. What are you talking about? Texas is a conservative state, man. It's been conservative for quite some time. It hasn't been left. It hasn't been left since the 90s. What are you talking about?
If it was all that conservative, they'd have kicked the Mexicans out, the illegals out a long time ago. It's not as conservative as people make it out to be.
All right.
I mean, because they're Hispanic, don't mean they'll be.
No, that's why I cleaned it up. No, you're right, because I don't want to say just kick the Mexicans out, but like illegal immigrants, if they were that conservative, they wouldn't have this illegal problem.
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. This is what you were getting confused about. What you're talking about when Abbott used that illegal term when that dude was shooting. He would say because Texas got so many mass shooting problems that it gets convoluted.
Yeah, they're all starting to run together.
Yeah, it was Governor Abbott had called those victims illegal immigrants, right? When that dude was he was doing that shooting practice, and they told him to like stop. They're trying to sleep or something like that, and he just went in the house and just executed the whole house. White dude, white Hispanic.
He was right about though. I mean, it might have been rude, but he was right about that.
He was right about. He was right about what?
The neighbors were they illegal or
no? That's what I'm saying. No, my point was that's where you're getting the illegal thing from when he said that's the only illegal type of that's the only situation recently where illegals were involved. Everybody else has been American citizens.
Yeah, in Texas. In Texas,
yeah. That's
a lot of things going wrong with this illegal immigration stuff, brother. It's not like they're just rocket scientists and Nobel laureates, bro.
Why are we talking about illegals when this guy was not an undocumented person, man? He wasn't undocumented.
No, no, you got me on that. I thought I was talking about an undocumented person,
Yeah.
but outside of that, my
No,
argument
man.
still stands. My
That's that
argument
typical.
still stands. We
That's
have a
that typical
brown white
crap you guys run.
supremacist, and black people have been
This
championing the
clown.
Rainbow Coalition. What is the Rainbow
He
Coalition?
wasn't,
Black and
but he
brown
wasn't
people.
brown. He wasn't brown.
He's a
Didn't you hear?
Latino.
He was
That's
white.
brown.
No, he was white.
No,
He was
no.
white.
He's not
That's
white.
according
he's
to
he's a Latino.
No, he was white. That's
He's a
what we're trying.
Latino.
It starts with being white first. If you look at his driver's license, it specifically says that.
No, he's a Latino. He can pick white or whatever, but he's a Latino.
No, see, you're doing. I'm saying, bro.
No,
you doing the same
Hispanic was the term. Now you switch it to Latino. I don't think
Yeah,
you really know what the difference is.
Hispanic, Latino, interchangeable.
Yeah, I mean Hispanic.
So now, David, now you're talking about intersectionality, David.
No, this is not intersectionality. This is two words having the same meaning.
Well,
This guy's a moron. Hey, hold on, this guy's a total moron. Anyway,
say something smart.
Go ahead, dude. You're a moron. You already know what I think about you. And I don't even talk to you. All right. I mean, that's how I really feel about you. But anyway,
barely talk to anybody.
Hey, bring up Renaissance Man. He wants a link.
The link is in the chat.
Is it in the chat? Oh, all right.
Probably
I had to email it to myself.
Portion of the actual chat to get it myself.
Yeah, I did. I had to email it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to drop it again, Mike, because it was up there.
Okay, I got it.
But yeah, I mean, Hispanic doesn't mean it just means you hail from a Spanish speaking nation. It doesn't mean you could be black. I mean, because Latino, because Haitians are Latino. I mean, you could be. It's not just. I mean, the dude was white. I mean, I don't know what we're. I mean, he was definitely white. He felt white. He was emboldened by whiteness. I mean, it was.
Yes.
Yeah. He believed he was white. So it really what matters.
But the thing here is, David would put him in the brown category because he wants to associate with the left. When it's about right wing and conservatism, then all of a sudden it becomes magically white. For him, it's all interchangeable because he doesn't know the difference.
Argument. That's not the argument. What I'm pointing out is that black people foolishly assume that everybody not white is down with your cause, and that's just not true. And now you're finding out the hard way, and it's too fucking late.
What?
What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
God, y'all are slow.
I think that Avatar might be a bit slow, but what I will say is, what I will say here is that the video, the clip with this Project 21 cat up in there, David, it really typifies. I mean, he looks just like one of these black Manosphere cats, man. Sounds just like one of them. Use the same talking points, dressed just like one of them. If you look at the Manosphere conference that they had about a year or so ago, all of the hallmarks of a Manosphere conservative, man. And so Manosphere conservatism only works within the Manosphere. It doesn't work outside of it. Once you step outside of the Manosphere, you get what you get, like what this guy got on Roland Martin. And so when people want to talk about the Manosphere going mainstream, yeah, you might have to think twice about that, because once you step out of the Manosphere, you go with those talking points, you get destroyed.
Damn.
Yeah, you get destroyed.
What are your winning talking points again? I mean, you guys aren't selling anything. You just hate on the right. What are you selling though?
Yeah, not on the right.
I didn't say I was. I'm asking you about you.
No, it's not about me. We're talking about a mass shooting. We're talking about we're talking about.
No. If I'm wrong, if this position is wrong, what are you offering that's right? That's what I'm asking you. If this is the wrong position, if those guys are wrong,
this is your
what
way
are you
of
offering
asking
that makes you right?
Okay, so David, I don't want to mischaracterize you, but this is your way of asking for us to have a policy-based conversation with you. Is that what this is about?
I mean, if policy is how you want to look at it, I mean, I'm looking for something other than, hoes mad. Like, what else do you offer besides I don't like this?
Okay, so the conversation is about what happened in Texas, and you want to jump up here because you want to be educated on policy so that way you can just turn your nose up at it. I mean, you could just...
Do you have a policy worth turning my nose up, or is it a good one?
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to educate you on the policies because
You
you
have
are a New York problem.
nothing. You have
Okay.
nothing.
Thank you. Yeah, but you are a New York problem. I mean, you know, we wouldn't allow you to like exist in Colorado. You know, the cost of living normally gets you the hell up out of here. You know, it's the way that works.
No,
Unless
no,
you want to live in the right wing.
I'm still
no,
hearing
because if he's
nothing. We're all
yeah,
the
but if he's
left-wing progressive ideas. Y'all supposed to be like the saviors of black people. What the fuck do you have?
So that's the thing, though, right? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Citizen Lou.
I was gonna say, but that's the thing I was saying. Like when you're a black conservative, you don't really need anything. You don't need any policy. You don't need any.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
you just go on. Yeah, I hate niggas. Yeah, niggas. Excuse me, I ain't trying to what you call a stream. But all you can do is just say you hate black people. You hate. I mean, you don't have to do anything. I've heard black conservatives openly say black people don't vote. So you don't even have to vote. You don't have to mobilize. You don't have to do anything. So that's why it's kind of disingenuous to say, what do you guys have? And it's like on that side they have nothing, but you over there. It's kind of crazy. Like why should
I mean? Black people vote Democrat 90%, and then when I ask you guys, what do you have? Well, humana, this nigga talks to racists. Bro, come on, man. One of these days you're gonna have to grow up and put something on the table.
Yeah, but that's how it works for you. Like you need to take your own advice. I mean, because you're the one who's coming up here asking to be educated, not us.
And the thing, it's a good point that Lou brings up, you know, not having to do anything on that other side, because that's really the epitome of being the soft boy era. That's really what black male conservatives want, is the soft boy era, the ability not to have to do anything, lay up and, you know, just be, you know, kind of idle and not have to engage society and not have to engage democracy, not have to participate at all. That's really what they're looking for.
Yeah, I've been hearing like 3 streams in a row of nothing but complaining, and I just don't like them niggas. What do you have, bro? What's so good about your position? I get it. Conservatives are coons. What makes you good?
You saying what made? I'm trying to like process the quick. You say so like what's good about like, you know, healthcare, education, social infrastructure.
Clean
Those
water.
are broad terms. Those are broad terms, but the kids can't read. The doctors are cutting dicks off. I mean, what are you say these things like they don't have real world applications? Like who's killing in education right now? Are black kids getting a great education right now?
They would if Betsy DeVos didn't, you know, undermine black children.
One white woman is the reason why all these kids can't read. One white woman.
You got the No Child Left Behind Act. I mean, you're saying black. I mean, when you look at it, it's actually the national average of kids is like not that high. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's just. I know you're saying. I know you're trying to like, you know, trigger black people, but you got to look at the whole national average. Kids across America aren't reading at. Well, I think it's above 5th grade or 6th grade.
And the teachers' union votes for who?
The teachers' union votes for who?
The teachers' union is
the same people that the trades union vote for.
The trades are a different story, but also a left-wing product. Trade unions aren't the reason why the kids are dumb. And you said healthcare and education. So we're looking at education. You really don't want to look at healthcare, do you now?
Yeah, the social policies that came out of the 1960s that black people, you know, had won 64, 65, and even 68 were savagely cut by conservatives, you know, by the early 80s. Once Reagan came in, they undermined everything. And that continued all the way until Obama. That continued all the way until Obama. That went on for 30 years.
And then the funny thing too, most black people live in conservative states. When you look at the percentage of black people, they live in red conservative states. So you're saying like, as if they vote for Obama, everything's supposed to change, but then their governor like Tate Reeves or Philip Bryant in Mississippi will just cut all their funds, take all their TANF money and build volleyball stadiums and give it to Brett Favre. And in Alabama, they go build a whole new gym complex. I mean, you're making it seem like it's way more layers. Just because I'll vote for Biden or vote for Obama or whoever, whatever, or Robert Kennedy, whatever. If my governor is not rocking with it, or he's taking the funds and distributing gerrymander, it doesn't matter what you do. That's why everything happened to black people in Mississippi. You can't blame black people for it. It's a right-wing conservative state. So that's why it's like, it's kind of crazy you're saying, Yeah, so the state legislation, senator, everything is red. So if you go to Mississippi and see how trash black people's situation is, how is black people voting Democrat? I mean, they have to. It's survival. I mean, what else? They gonna vote right wing and accelerate it? They gonna accelerate the extinction?
The state is red, but the cities where black people live are blue. So the people directly
and the overall people who run the state is still red, so it doesn't matter.
The people directly in charge of your lives and the decision making that you encounter directly are black people who vote blue. And so
the governor has way more power than the mayor, bro.
If the governor has immense
power,
then why are you voting for him? If your mayor,
they're not. The black people aren't voting for these governors. Name one. There's no black governor in these conservative states.
There's no black governor at all at this point.
Oh, you're right. Because
other than Westmore, and so I mean he's in Maryland, but you know you can't explain that to these guys because in the Manosphere, you know, white equals good, white conservative equals good, white conservative controlled state equals good, despite all of the numbers shows that most of the poverty happens in these white conservative run states. Didn't you just see what happened early this week with all the sewage and from septic systems, you know, poisoning all of these fucking white people down in Alabama?
Yep.
They had to go to the Department of Justice to get some help.
Not sure why that's funny. Flint has shitty water too, bro. I'm not sure why that's funny.
But you know who's responsible for that? They had a Republican state legislation who was actually
at the time.
At the time of that, yeah, exactly. When that water got what do you call it? Repiped, however the water got contaminated, the Republican they were so responsible for that. So it's like
yes and no, because you got to understand water contamination on a municipal citywide level doesn't happen overnight. This is like 30, 40 years of neglect. So I put everybody's hand in the pot.
No, you can't put everybody's hands in the pot unless you understand the situation they're in. How are you gonna do that?
Well, fair enough, but you're saying that it was Republicans' fault because it broke when like there was a Republican governor or something. I'm like, bro, your water takes a long time. Like your whole city's water system, that takes a long time to just go to shit. So to blame the guy who's there now, I'm like, no, you would actually have to blame generations of leadership.
They were already found guilty of it, though, David. They were already found guilty of it.
Is 10 years enough time, David?
So yeah, look, they're the guys.
I said 10. I said 10. It's 10 years. It's 10 years.
We ran it for a whole 10 years straight.
I'm asking you. It's 10 years enough time.
I guess. Yeah, that's a good. Okay. That's a good amount of time. Yeah, I'm asking. Did they run it for a whole 10 years straight?
I'm gonna show it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for the people who's listening at home, this is exactly what Black conservatives bring to the conversation. This is why there is no need to learn politics. There is no need to learn how anything works because you expect to be educated on everything when you already don't even agree with it, and then you just denounce it whenever the person gets through talking. So it's just a wash. So the only thing you do is you just don't feed him policies for him to say no to, and then he'll just fizzle out all on his own.
So you got no faith in your own ideas. Weak. No faith in your own shit.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Colorado works fine. And so does New York, which is the reason why you stay there. Like, you're not going to move to a conservative area where you're going to have to actually focus on policies and change something. The only thing you can do is live in a liberal society where all your needs are already taken care of for the most part. So good for you to notice that the liberals actually do give a damn about you. Because you definitely ain't have the heart to live in a conservative area.
Liberal state. All your needs are met. They look out for you. They give you all your eats and your sleeps.
Pretty much, yeah. Give me the
no, because if he's because a real conservative would actually live in somewhere like Vermont, where the black population
is a liberal state.
No, it's not. It's far from liberal, man. It's a very conservative state. It's been conservative since its inception. It has never changed.
Ben and Jerry's is from?
Say that one more time.
Oh, go ahead.
Don't Ben and Jerry's from Vermont?
Yeah.
What does that have to do? What does that have to do with it?
Never mind. I'm good.
Hey, isn't Vermont the state where felons can vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's like an
Not very
all-white state.
conservative, is it? That doesn't sound conservative to me.
No,
Sounds
it's
like-
conservative.
No,
No,
it's white.
It's conservative because it's maintaining its
White,
whiteness. It has-
Lou, don't listen to these niggas. White does not equal conservative because there's a bunch of fat blue-haired chicks that live in Vermont. They eating ice cream and letting the fellas run the place.
No, the point is that yes, it is conservative because they'll do anything they can to maintain their power base, and they'll even forgive and restore felon votes to do that. That's what we're saying.
Even though Florida has technically did the same thing, but there was a governor who decided to overturn it.
Yeah.
Because the place isn't homogenous enough to allow something like that to go down.
Right, yeah, because then black people start getting their votes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they put black people in jail for voting. Even though it's their constitutional right to actually do so. See, the Constitution only works for one group of people, but not for the other.
No.
So yeah, I'm pro-Constitution, if that makes any sense.
Not to a conservative. They don't know what you're talking about. I mean, because the Constitution is for them, not you. That's for them.
Yeah.
Let me read this comment from.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me read this comment. Let me read this comment from the chat. It says, so it's not Biden's fault that the economy is what it is. I ain't stutter because you can't blame the people in charge at present for problems that takes decades. No, let's break this apart, Jay Gammon. What happened in Flint and what happened in Jackson, Mississippi, in Alabama, and what's happening in West Virginia, and what's happening in Arkansas, and most of these conservative states happened under conservative leadership that was policy-based and neglected by those people, okay? In Flint, Michigan, they found the leadership to be guilty of neglect of the infrastructure itself, okay? That's what happened. Now, when it comes to the economy, you can't find Biden guilty, by a jury of 12. It doesn't work that way. He didn't break any laws. These people are breaking laws by taking fairly funded money and state money away from these areas so that they would be neglected, and then put it into their own areas and build, volleyball gyms and stadiums and Olympic-sized tracks and swimming pools and things of that nature that they didn't even need. Okay, that's what happened. Now, if you look at Democrat-run states, most of them are very sufficient. Okay, California is very sufficient, despite the fact that a lot of companies are leaving to go to Texas. They're only leaving to go to Texas because, Texas is giving away a lot of land for cheap. You think about New York. New York subsidizes a good portion of your southern conservative states. Same thing with Massachusetts. Massachusetts subsidizes a lot of your southern conservative states. Okay, most of your southern conservative states are sucking on the tit of blue states right now. They need it. Go ahead, David. What are you saying?
Explain that. How do you figure they subsidize them? Walk me through that, please.
Yeah, they give a lot of money away to them. They pay for a lot of.
Man, don't educate this guy, man. Let him take a look. Because you're gonna educate this monkey, he's gonna go run off and try to use it somewhere. Don't educate this dude, man. Let him figure a lot of this stuff out himself, man. Let him look at that and research it himself.
Nigga, shut the fuck up. Yo, what are you talking about?
You shut the fuck up, you fucking clown. Like I said, you don't know shit. You don't know shit that's going on out here. You don't know jack. And you're sitting here talking.
Don't give this guy way too long to say some fly shit.
Don't give this guy any info, man. Don't
take you way too long to say some real simple shit.
Man.
All right, Hood Server, do you have any last comments?
Explain the subsidizing thing. Why do you think they're subsidizing the southern states?
That's been going on.
This isn't a conversation about taxation, man. Like, you have to another time to understand.
Your boy brought it up. It's his conversation.
David, all it means is when you look at how much they pay in taxes and how much in benefits they get from the government, it's a net negative. they're taking more than they're sending in taxes. They're getting higher than their fair share.
Yeah, they almost operate like colonies at this point.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, no conservative state, with the exception of Texas, can really. You have any last thoughts, David, before you close out?
No, it was good talking to you, Mike.
All right, have a good one, bro. All right, let's have a real conversation now.
Yeah, great.
Renaissance man, what's going on with you, man?
Nothing. No, I honestly just saw the live and I saw David up here talking. I was like, "What's going on? Like, has this guy hijacked the brain trust?" Like,
oh man.
No. So yeah. That doesn't sound like. I'm assuming he offered no real insights to any of his positions or why he identifies as a quote unquote conservative.
Yeah.
No, he's really responding. He's responding to what happened on Roland Martin earlier tonight, which is why I launched this stream, because David from Project 21 is prototypical of what you see in the Black manosphere today. Okay, Gish galloped his way around, didn't know what was going on, didn't do any studying. I mean, all of his talking points could have been easily looked up on Wikipedia and corrected, but he just chose not to. Let me just shoot my shot, man. Let me just shoot from the hip, and it's like, and come on the panel and then get destroyed. And so when you hear people in the manosphere talk about, oh man, manosphere is going mainstream, they're making a big impact. Once you take those talking points outside of the manosphere, you are finished. You're dead meat out there.
Kind of like Brandon Tatum going back on Dr. Richie again.
For what reason?
Yeah. Well, it keeps what it does for Brandon Tatum is it gives him leverage to say, look, I went on those lefties platform and I really gave it to him. And to his point, maybe his followers believe that. Just like in the manosphere, a lot of guys who got behind Chat JPT, now are eating crow because she threw these guys under the bus, right? And so for all these guys who stood up here and talked about, oh man, Chat JPT and Nick Fuentes, coincidentally enough, if they can hold Black man's best interest, I don't care if he is a racist. And now these guys are all eating crow, man. So when they talk about, both parties are two wings of the same bird, yeah, a crow. Two wings of the same bird, it's all a crow. And you guys are eating all of it, man.
And so, you know what, Mike? See, that's where I used to be at, right? I used to think I was like this centrist. You know what I mean? I used to think I was like, both wings of the same bird, and thinking that I was some like, higher enlightened. And then when you really start to get down to the nitties and gritties of it, well, you got to evolve. You know what I'm saying? You got to. What you say?
I said, man, the actual history and the history within the states. Like, there's no way you can say that.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you look at it, you like, bro, you can't say that. Though. Like, most people who do that, they're really on the right. Like, to be honest, they're really, because you're acquiescing to it, right? It's like, like you say, you hate Black people. I'll defend your right to say it. Like, that stupid, goofy, libertarian type stuff. You know what I mean? It's like you're just silent. You're being silent to aggression. It's like it's just crazy. So, yeah, man. Go ahead.
It's just I had to play it tonight, man. I was going to try to sit on it for a few days, and I was like, nah, man, I got to go in, man. I got to go in, because all these guys, because the same Project 21 cats was on Bernard Riley's, and they was over there hee ha ha, and yucking it up, man. Once you take those talking points outside the manosphere, a lot of people want to promote Kevin Samuels. And once he took his talking points outside of the manosphere, that was it. Went to Nicki Minaj, shut down. He went to Brittany Rayner, got shut down. All those talking points only work within the manosphere. The manosphere is its own ecosystem. It's a broken ecosystem, but it's in its own ecosystem that doesn't really work outside of itself. And so,
Kevin didn't even take his talking points out there. He just blew up and then kind of disavowed these guys. Like, okay, I'm gonna get on I'm gonna get on a platform, Nicki Minaj, and I don't know, Manosphere. What is that? Who are these guys? I don't know what they're talking about here.
That's so true, because they walk around claiming, oh, we're claiming he's mainstream. He never mentioned you. Never mentioned you. Never mentioned you. Never talked about any Black Manosphere or anything else like that. And then he quasi changed his position when he got in there talking with that other young lady. I'm forgetting her name right now, but Brittany Renner or whatever. You know, I mean, it's just like, come on. You know, like I said, he passed on. I felt much of what he was talking about should have passed on with him. You know, and may he rest in peace, and and God bless his family and all that, all that good stuff. But a lot of that should have just passed on with him, man. So as far as the Black Manosphere is concerned, he never went forward with that. Not when he blew up mainstream. He kicked a lot of these guys to the curb and didn't like a lot of these guys when he left out here anyway as well. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but he wasn't messing with them before he blew up either.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but bringing it back to Nick Fuentes, being on that other guy's panel. Coincidentally enough, Jared Taylor happened to be on that same guy's panel.
Mm.
And, and Nagone 11 had his interaction with him, and that guy never came back. And so Black conservative equals buffer to white nationalism and white fascism. And so I don't know if you can really consider a lot of these content creators and panelists actual Manosphere, right? Because if we're Manosphere, how can we be Manosphere and they be Manosphere too? That doesn't compute. It doesn't compute. Somebody's got to go.
Like two different kinds of Christians. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
These group of Christians right here believe in brotherhood. These groups of Christians right here want to keep slaves within the same brotherhood. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Hey, listen, go ahead.
Nicole.
No, I was gonna say we all believe in. There's not a monolithic view of thought in the Black community. It never has been. There's never been a monolithic view. Even when we look at let's say the civil rights movement, and you saw people were talking peace and sit-ins and nonviolence, but yet you still had the deacons of defense that were out there that were walking around armed and and had Klansmen backing down and afraid when brothers had had Voltroned up and were protecting a lot of the how would I say, the freedom riders and so forth, where a lot of those guys were afraid. It kept the lynchings down a great bit. You don't hear about that, but yet that was a big part of that movement as well. So there wasn't just one view of thought. So I believe that we should have different views of thought in the sphere, but I like clear thought and clear thinking, not these shine bones who are here, who are not Black conservatives, talking crazy. I don't respect them, because they're not talking from a concept of sensibility that's going to really help to advance your political or economic social agenda. They're not there. They're not there in any kind of way. And also they're not willing to do any work. So, it's very hard to look at these guys without some level of disdain. And I'm sorry, I can't entertain these people, man. I can't seriously entertain guys like this conservative and these other clowns running around. I just can't, but we have talked to conservatives who are call themselves Black conservatives who've come from some policy issues with respect to we can talk about tech and employment and some other areas that make some sense. But these people, from some of those conservative platforms, if you will, but these guys are, it's here in the sphere. It's just crazy. It's madness, and we looking bad. We're looking real bad behind a lot of that. Anyway, go ahead, man.
I wanted to touch in what you said about like my dad, right? He's a fraternity, and during the election, man, they were mobilized. I mean, they was on Zoom calls. I mean, they were calling in Florida, talking about the Atlanta. They were saying, you got to make sure these people understand these rules because they trying to pretty much suppress them and stuff like that. Then I look on YouTube, Black conservatives going live and doing reaction videos. And I'm like, I don't see Black conservative, Black Republicans mobilizing like this. So it's like you're right. I mean, it's the easiest of the two. Like what you were saying, like you just gotta all you got to do is just sit back and let the white man do everything, you know, just like, you know, to put it that way. You don't have to work. You don't have to mobilize. You don't have to fight for your political strength or social
Political
agenda.
capital.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, political capital. All you got to do is just let them handle it, and then hopefully they'll throw you some crumbs. Oh, hopefully you'll get a crumb off the edge. You know?
No, because it's the essence of the soft boy era. That's exactly what they want. They want to be treated just like how bedwenches are treated. If you really think about it, that's why they don't like black women who swirl and things like that. They don't like black women who date out or date white men exclusively and stuff. That's why all of their anger and angst is towards the black woman, because the black woman leverages the system to her advantage and upward mobility. And these guys have not figured out how to do it. And so what they do is they take all their frustrations out on her.
Man, I remember a guy. I was saying, a dude on Bernard, I never forget it, man. He came up there. I guess they were having like a lefty stream, smoke stream or something. And then, you know, it was a black dude on there. He was, you know, he was obviously progressive. And he came up there. He asked a question. I'll never forget. He said, it seems like the only time black conservatives will ride and stand up and band together is against black women. That's the only time they get mobilized. They only get activated, like with the Stacey Abrams. They only talked about Stacey Abrams. They ain't talk about any. I've never heard them talk about any black politician, black male politician, or government. You know, anybody running for any race like they did Stacey Abrams. That was crazy.
Yeah, she was an easy target for them. You know, despite the you know, outside of her her body composition, she was an easy target for them. And so it's easy to talk about her, but it's harder to talk about Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and John Kennedy in Louisiana, you know, denying them reparations. And these same guys want to sit up here and talk about reparations. It doesn't make any sense. But it does make sense in you know, in the greater scheme of things, because what they want is more proximity to whiteness. And that's really what they're trying to protect and what they want access to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
They also don't want the system to work. So that way they get to remove their society from inside their group. And they can only maintain their actual position within the group if nothing works. This is how come they don't even bother trying to learn how anything works to protect their actual end goal decision-making process.
Exactly. No, go ahead, Mike.
No, there was a man who shot up a train about a year or so ago who came out of the Black Manosphere.
Frank James.
Uncle
came
Frank.
into my city. Came into my city, as I like to say, New York City, Midtown. He up in there shooting up.
Yeah, he had. Well, he didn't because he was too incompetent to do so, but he had all of the hallmarks of a black male conservative. Okay. He was listening to a certain content creator. He put on the shades and the hat and was bobbing his head around in the video just like him, you know, and regurgitating all the talking points. He was even
looked just like him.
Yeah, he looked like. Yeah, you're right.
He looked just like this man who he was imitating, or trying to imitate. You know, really tried to imitate. He really looked. But I looked at one of his videos. And he looked so much like him, I thought it was him. I was like, okay.
And then people started scrubbing their content. They started scrubbing all their content, all the talking points about Breonna Taylor. Now it comes back that the one female law enforcement officer who had basically dropped a dime on everybody and told and snitched on the whole entire department and whatnot, and all the other officers. Yeah, all those guys took their content down. Okay. Yeah. Same thing with Ahmaud Arbery. Okay, a lot of guys in here were like, well, he was out there stealing and what he was doing and this and that, and then come to find out, man, the Michaels were the masterminds behind all of this, man, and they had the DA ready to back them all. Where are these guys at now? Nowhere to be found.
But they filmed themselves committing a felony, which was awesome.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah,
sure did. Put themselves right on camera.
And Brandon Tatum still ain't apologized for what he did about the Breonna Taylor, but he did on like this smaller, obscure channel. You know what I mean? He didn't, like, not on his main channel, right? He didn't retract anything. Those videos are still up by the Breonna Taylor.
Yeah,
but
of course, yeah.
He went to like a smaller channel and like retracted it and like apologized and stuff like that.
Oh, of course. But you're never gonna hear anybody in the Manosphere talk about that other than this channel. You're never gonna hear anybody in the Manosphere who claims to be conservative actually call him out for that. No, they're not going to do it. Because he's doing exactly what they wanted, what they would like to do. Okay. Sit on 2 million subs, get all these views and all these super chats and cash apps, and and get as close as possible to the proximity of whiteness, man. That's all it's about, man. It's all about soft boy average and swirling. Male swirlers. That's what it's all about.
That is a fact.
What about Chicago?
Oh my God.
Chicago.
Oh my gosh.
Chicago not even that bad of a city. It's like crazy how they like make it seem like it's like Mad Max, and it's like
well that was a right-wing talking point. That was a talking point for them. That's what they would bring up. That was a talking point.
There are plenty of places in rural America that is, especially with these drug deaths and the crime associated with it, way worse than that side of the city.
Come on, man. You've had mass shooters. That guy sat up there in Vegas, sat up there, right? Well, I'm not even going to tell you who was president at the time when this dude was up there with his bump stock AR-15. His AR took out more people, that day than you had darn near a month in Chicago. So, over a month in Chicago, man. One day, this guy was out there just lighting folks up but no, man, that went on nice silent after that. But like I said, I'm not trying to get all crazy into that, but this is what's actually going on. So listen to these guys. These are talking points, but they do radicalize people because you have a section here of the white community that feels a lot of angst. That have a lot of angst. There's a lot of changes that are going on. A lot of them are not doing as well as they were, and now it's you're the problem. So
because when you look at go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the reason why I brought up Frank James, because the way these guys talk is going to lead to another situation like that. At some point, definitely is. It's inevitable that it will lead to another situation like that. Go ahead, Lou.
No, I was going to say, you're right about that too. And actually Mike segue into it because we were saying that when you look at any revolution, civil war, or any type of whatever, right? It's not through the immigrants. It's not through marginalized groups. It's not through any of those. It's all the group that always starts it is the group that feels like they are losing power.
That's right. That's exactly correct.
All these mass shootings, all these shootouts, and hostile takeovers. You got Republicans pretending to be Democrats and then switching once they get in. Like, how do you act like? How do people not see which party is in the wrong? Like they're pretending to be Democrats and then switching once they get in. And then over there in North Carolina, they got it set up so crazy to where if you do that, the people can't do anything about it. There's no recourse. There's nothing. They have no recourse. I think it was North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Where that lady?
Yeah, it's North Carolina.
Yeah. She acted. Yeah. Now the people are mad. They can't do anything about it. So yeah, now you're saying. I think I heard about something. They're trying to ratify the Constitution now. The Heritage Foundation. I don't know if that's a conspiracy. I don't know if that's there's a lot of speculation and rumors about what they're going to do next. Because they, remember, North Carolina voted for Obama twice, if I remember correctly, and so. They really don't want a situation where they're in these key battleground states that they can't win. You don't win the battleground states, you are SOL. And so you try something like that in Massachusetts, though, folks are going to show up to your damn house. You're surprised that folks show up with some guns. As liberal as Massachusetts is, man, as blue as a state as it is, man, there's still folks out there, who keep the blicky on them in case you try something like that and come show up to your house. The blicky, yeah. And then I saw a thing. It was like North Carolina is like they said it's like the pinnacle of gerrymandering. It's like if you look at all the maps that have been gerrymandered, say North Carolina, because it's like I think they have it's almost 50-50 Democrat, Republican, maybe might be more Democrat, but like their legislation doesn't represent that at all. Like it's almost like 8-10. I mean, 8-2 Republican. Like for the seats, so the Congress. I had to look at that video again, but they were saying that it's like the hallmark of what gerrymandering should look like, right? If you want to gerrymander,
you hit that right in the head because that's how they have control of the state legislature because they gerrymander those seats, so they make sure that the politicians pick their voters as opposed to the voters picking their picking their politicians. So that's exactly what they have going on there, and it's quite a few states, but North Carolina is definitely rough on that, because that is a state that could easily be flipped.
They pick their judges as well.
They certainly do.
Now, is that
Go
only
ahead.
is that only to them, Mike? Is that are they the only one? Is that like a special privilege they have, or is that like are you like?
No, there's quite a few. There's quite a few states that pick their where you can vote for your judges. Like in Wisconsin, they're voting for their judges too, right? And so you need judges that's going to be able to stop prosecuting black men over these minor traffic violations, giving them,
I got you.
these
I understand. I see what you're
football
saying.
numbers, right? And so a lot of black men in this space don't understand that, because they push this idea of staying home. And so what happens when you stay home, you get Sherry Beasley, who doesn't get in, missing it by 400 votes because 400 black men decided that they were going to stay home. And so these sort of issues are very critical. You try to get these guys to understand that the black male vote is a swing vote. It's a key vote in these battleground states. It determines whether or not somebody gets in or doesn't.
It is. That's very true. That's very true. That's why it's very key that we do get out there to vote. And like you said, when you saw in Georgia, when the Republicans were pulling their dirty, their madness, things changed up. A lot of black men came out. More black men came out, voted in pretty strong numbers, and things changed. Things changed. They had to look at some stuff differently. So, yeah, very, very, very important demographic.
And back, with the black man, the conservatism, then they always bring up Texas, right? As like this conservative, red, golden child, right? Like this is what, like the perfect scenario, right? For like, how to live in America, right? But then when you look at it, right, when you look at the population of Texas, like what, 30 million, 29 million almost. And you look at all the people that voted for Trump, it was only like 5 million. Like
43%, 43 to 48% of Texans voted for Biden, 2020.
Exactly. You see what I'm like? So it's like, it's when if you really got all the people to vote, would it be red? Would it be Republican? And like,
it'd be purple. It's really a purple state. It's really a purple state. And so what?
Like Georgia as well.
Gotcha.
Go ahead, MOT. Go ahead.
It's always been a purple state. Because what do you think Texas would look like if you took away San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston? It would look like Mississippi, Arkansas, or Alabama.
Right.
Especially Austin. Yeah, especially Austin. If you take away Austin.
Yeah.
Take away Austin, they're screwed.
Yeah, especially Austin. But
if you,
that's kind of what we are. It's because people are geographically deficient, politically deficient. They just don't know anything. They don't care about how anything works. And then they choose to live in those areas where they don't have the proper representation. And then they ain't got the productivity piece right. And then it's kind of like living in Mississippi. Like, you're so used to the fact that things don't work right, you think the whole world works like that until you go somewhere else. Like, oh man, bro, we getting screwed down here. That's how it works.
Yeah, until you see fast transit, light transit, mass transit.
Baby. You took it right up my butt. I was about to say, until you go to Denver or San Francisco, you see a subway. Like, hold on, wait a minute. I don't have to call my uncle to give me a ride. Wait a minute, I can just get on the trolley. I can just get on the train to go to work.
They'll be like, wait a minute, you get on this bus and it goes all the way to the destination that I want to go? What?
Right, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, you got all these jobs and you see all these people. Man, it's crazy. You're right. Living in Mississippi, you really just think the whole world is just backwards. You just think like everything is screwed up. And then that's the thing too. When these black conservatives talk about Texas, they're not moving to Floresville or Duncan or these sundown towns. They going to Dallas. They going to Houston. San Antonio, out or whatever maybe, and in Austin. Like, what are they like that? Like, I'm going to go to Texas. Where are they going? Y'all are going to Dallas. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Completely different areas.
You don't see him sliding up in Vidor, Texas, going up over there. You know what I'm saying? Or Tyler in those areas, going up in there.
I know how it sounds, but Atlanta, Texas, like ain't nobody chasing that down.
Ain't nobody going exactly. Nobody going to Duncanville, or like West Texas, or just mountains.
No, because they're not going to move to West Virginia either, right? For all of the conservative talk, they're not moving to West Virginia. It's just at the end of the day, these guys really don't. They don't really want they want to. I heard somebody say this last year that in the Manosphere that California would be run so much better if conservatives ran it, got rid of all the liberals.
And you know what's funny about that? There's a guy. He talks about like everybody's saying, "Oh, this they keep talking about this California exited. Everybody's leaving California." If you look at it, it's actually a net positive. Like just as many there's more people coming into California than it is leaving. You got like just a whole slew. It's like is that a net positive? So
California's economy is the equivalent of a European country, even greater so than a European country. They can kind of survive on their own. They have their own ecosystem and whatnot. And so that's what I was trying to explain to old buddy before he left, that that's kind of how most of your conservative states are subsidized. California exports a lot of material and resources to a lot of these conservative states. And guys don't really understand that California, and to its exception, has always been a liberal grounded state. It's never been anything other than that. Now you have had racist people in the state and may have been in power at one point, but the concept of the state itself has always been a liberal state. It's never been anything other than that. And so these guys always think that they're going to identify with, oh man, well, I'm not a liberal. Well, what are you then? Because everything you're talking about is liberalism. You just want to be pampered by white men. That's really what it comes down to. You want to,
and they live in liberal areas, and then they pretend like, I'm like, okay, why don't you go live around your actual value system? You're so conservative. Yeah. They never do it.
And then they talk about Miami, like Florida. Ain't nothing conservative about Miami. Ain't nothing conservative at all about Miami. You got BBL strippers, LGBT.
That's the new porn. That's the new porn capital of the world. You know that, right?
What'd you say, Dagon?
That's the new porn capital of the world, where California, LA, San Fernando Valley was. Now it's out there in Miami. Porn.
Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why these guys subscribe to Fresh and Fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they love Fresh and Fit. Always over there, just to see the women. Because they're always about the women, man. Everything's about women. It's never about the economy. It's never about, infrastructure, governance. It's never about that. It's always about what this woman is doing. It's always about some Black women too. It's never about, white women taking affirmative action at 80% the clip. The unjust, venture capitalist market where, 30% of white men get 90% of all the, the bennies and stuff like that. They don't ever talk about that, man. It's always about what this Black woman is doing, man. They can't wrap their head around the idea that she's not the problem at this point.
Yeah. Or the fact, go ahead.
No, but they don't want to talk about the numbers. They don't want to get into that. That's not anything that they're into. A lot of them don't know the numbers, but the ones who do know and look to obfuscate that as well, and go on with this other BS that they're pushing.
There was a time in the Manosphere, this will be our last statement, but there was a time in the Manosphere where guys wanted to take away all the wrenches from the women and then fire up their own panels and to talk about women at the same time. Make no sense, man. Any last thoughts from the rest of you guys?
Some people who are recently with hundreds of thousands of people as subscribers, like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. No, it's just that you have to understand that you're only conservative because you do not discuss issues. Not because you do, because you don't.
That's a
not
fact.
Even that hard.
That's a fact.
Yeah. And it's easier. You don't have to do anything. All you got to do is talk about Chicago, black women, people twerking on cars, some kids, like I think you said it, like using black boys as like ransom, trying to say like, oh, they can't read and all that stuff like that, using that as like
human shields.
Using black boys as human shields and all this other stuff. Like it's crazy. It's easy. All you gotta do is go live and just put up biased crime statistics, laugh and giggle at poverty and black people. That's all you got to do. You don't have to look at something and be like, you want to change it. You want to actually be a part of change. You just got to we can't do that. And we got to change the culture. That's the only way we go. No, Nick, don't shut up. Like, it's not true. You gotta be the one to do something. But yeah, man. Hey, I'm glad you had me on, man. It was it was good talk, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, Lou, it's always good chopping up with you, bro.
All right, cool, man.
Y'all have a good one.
All right.
Hey, Mike, thanks for letting me up, man. I'll talk to you.
Absolutely. All right, thank you all for joining us. Please hit the like button on the way out and hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust.